Oh yeah, we're live. We're live. We're really live. We're on TV, man.
We're on the air. We're on the air. Millions of people are watching right now, I think. I'm pretty sure at least.
So, Austin, huge announcement. What is the announcement?
Yeah, so Stef and I are teaming together to do a video series where we just rant about ridiculous trends and social media posts and advertising, and we're just gonna randomly talk about stuff. Pretty much.
That's
not quite, and, yeah.
Well, it's even that random that we didn't have the time to figure out show name, show branding, show anything, format. Well, we briefly discussed it, but the goal was actually for this first episode to just kind of box out the format as we go along. So maybe we should start with the show name, right?
Yeah, what should we do? Something memorable, familiar, and distinctive at the same time. What do you
think? Those are the teachings of the Holy Ehrenberg Bass Institute. Can you, as we are improvising, can you enable screen sharing for me?
Oh yeah, let's do this. All right.
I want to share my screen so we can do it a little bit visually at least. Because after all, if people can't see anything, it's not interesting at all.
Exactly. Did that work?
Let me see. Share screen. Yes, now we can share screen.
Great.
So I'm hoping the wonderful people of the internet are also seeing our screen at this point. I think so. Okay.
Great. That's good. That's good.
So the name needs to be what? It
needs to be memorable. Distinctive, but also a little familiar, right? So like I feel like whenever somebody comes up with some random new word that no one knows, then everybody's like, wait, what was that called? It was something started with an O. So it shouldn't be completely random.
So this is the MDF framework by Austin, right?
Okay, right. So this is my own framework, exactly.
Like a little trademark hour behind it. The book is coming out soon.
Exactly.
Okay, but I actually I couldn't let it alone, and you probably neither. I already thought about naming, obviously.
I did too.
We're humans after all. And I was thinking, you mentioned your newsletter is called what?
Branding Bullshit.
It's called Branding Bullshit. Right? And I like.
Did we think of the same? Did we think of the same thing?
I'm gonna type it out. Let's see. I was thinking we should call it the BS show.
See, I was thinking we'd combine both of our brands and we'd call it Let's Talk Bullshit. What do you think?
Oh, that's also cool. Yeah. What I like about BS show, and we could let the public.
It's censored.
It's the branding bullshit show, but it's also the bullshit show. There's a lot of like. What does the BS stand for? It could be anything, basically. So it could be a nice way to do it. It's basically the bullshit show. You like it?
Well, here's the thing. Now we got to see if we can get the domain, because we might need that down the road.
Yeah. Let's Talk Bullshit was the other one, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's more to the point for sure. Let's check domain names. Where do we do that?
I'm on GoDaddy right now. The BSshow.com. Here we go. Let's see.
.com. You're crazy, man.
We'd have to broker it, man. I don't think it's gonna work. Now let's see. Let's talk BS. Censor it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
See if we got that. Yes, we have Let's Talk BS. Although when you see it, it actually looks like Let Stalk, as if you're stalking someone BS. But it is what it is.
I did the whole Let's Talk stuff, and it's very annoying for branding. So let's not do that. Let's just focus on the BS show. I think it's a nice way. We need to move forward.
All right, great. Moving on.
the BS show. Let's create a logo. What do we need for a logo here? Quickly.
We need some sort of meaningless, distinctive asset here. So it needs to,
okay.
It can't have too much meaning attached.
I feel you're biased towards a certain like school of thought.
Right, right.
Shouldn't the logo have like proper meaning and show differentiation on all that stuff?
No? I don't think so. No, I think it should just be. We need a mascot for one.
I love that. Actually, again, like I know this is so-called improvised, but I was thinking yesterday we should try to create a mascot with the new AI generation tools. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, that would be cool. I guess that's possible. You say?
I think it is possible.
Great.
It's possible. You need to give me like a prompt, like something we could even try a prompt that just says like distinctive brand asset, and then see what AI pops up for us. Maybe we need something, but if you say meaningless, this is the most meaningless it could get, right? We're letting random computer generate stuff for us. It could work. Let's see.
It looks like characters from Twilight or something.
Yeah, well, give it a minute to do this. But this is how most branding people actually work. So they type out the name and then they just type in prompts in AI generators. I don't know if people knew that, but that's
what everyone does. I'm very familiar with this. I do this all the time.
This is like the whole series is really how to build a brand in like the most professional and profound way. I'm starting to like this like wavy thing here. That could be our logo, maybe, right? Let's it's over here somewhere. Distinctive brand asset.
I saw it earlier, and then it disappeared. Okay.
Here it is. Let's I'm just gonna upscale it and then throw it in our thing. This is cool, right? I mean, this is.
Oh yeah.
This is a logo, great. People. I mean, come on. It's lovely, right?
Wow, that's just. It looks like a duck, kind of.
Oh yeah, maybe we could like quickly, and then
make it a duck.
Yeah, I mean that's how we work, right? We use AI to inspire us, and then we kind of do our own little artistic thing with it. And
whenever we work with clients, it takes maybe 5 minutes, and then we're done.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I kind of like. Oh my god. This is so cool.
This is perfect.
and for like the whole discussion that people are saying like, hey, AI is going to take my job. No, it's making your job easier.
Exactly. So and the client never has to know. The client never has to know you did this. So
what I'm really curious about though is like, could you trademark AI generated?
That's interesting that you see the duck that way. I was thinking that the orange and the yellow was the mouth.
So wait, like this?
No, the orange and yellow is the like flip it to where it was normally, where it was before. The first when it showed up in the actual thing in the little algorithm deal, because the green is the head, and the orange and yellow is like its beak.
I'm not hearing you anymore, Austin. There you are.
Oh,
okay, sorry.
Okay.
No, you're back.
Great.
Anyway, I think this is quite cool.
All right, that'll work.
That'll work, right? I mean, maybe we just need like
What's happening? You're cutting out. The question is, who is it?
I hope this is me. I'm just imperfect. Okay.
There you go. You're trouble.
Back. Okay. You lost me?
I did. I lost your voice.
Okay. So I think this is it in terms of us creating a nice branding, right? We did it in a scrappy way.
I love it.
Okay, let me just go back to full screen. I think now would be a great time to discuss a little bit more like the format of the show, so people have an idea of like what we plan to do, what we plan to discuss. How do you see it?
Yeah. I I thought about this a little bit before, just to say something really quick. I have this quote here that I thought about maybe we start with, because I think it's really great. Are you familiar with the ad contrarian Bob Hoffman by any chance?
Oh yeah. I follow his stuff.
Let's see, where was that? I think that was actually on my Substack. Hold on. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So we start with this quote here. I think this is great. He said this in a talk back in 2017. He said, "For the most part, consumers are not in love with brands, despite all the baloney we hear from social media experts. For the most part, consumers do not want to have a conversation with your brand, have an authentic relationship with it, or engage with it, or co-create with it, or spend a romantic seaside weekend with it. Of course, brand preferences exist, but brand love is a juvenile fantasy. I swear, if Pepsi were to disappear tomorrow, Pepsi loyalists would switch to Coke with very little psychological damage. Big Mac lovers would cheerfully eat a Whopper without the need for counseling, and Nike loyalists would throw on a pair of Adidas without having to enter rehab." I think that this kind of summarizes, our general beef very, very loosely with the brand design, in particular, culture that we see right now.
Well,
what are your thoughts?
It's painful to hear that, obviously, as I was a disciple of the branding differentiation school for a long time. But as people following this channel, they probably already know that we started exploring different thoughts and areas of expertise. And as we learned from Byron Sharp and a lot of other interesting people, there's more to it, or there's less to it, as you say. And I think, for me, it's interesting to keep exploring this, like these different perspectives. I think sometimes, there are parts of this philosophy of brand love that are at least sometimes just interesting to explore, and it's not all BS, as we like to say. But on the other hand, there's so much just big old BS floating around. So I think that's why we also connected really well, is just like we like to see through it and understand better what's behind it. And I think that's part of why we said, hey, let's do some show together, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so the format for the show, like we talked about it briefly, but I'd love to just do like a weekly, like news, or 2 weekly, whatever we have the time, news kind of format, where we just bring a piece of information and we share it with each other, and then we hopefully delight our users with interesting information, or we trash talk the hell out of some rebrand happening just now.
Yes, that is. I think we love the idea of finding, maybe blogs that we read that we just thought were ridiculous, or even some that we thought were really good. Social media posts that Stef is seeing thrown around a lot. I'm not on social media, so I don't see a lot of those things, but I do like to keep, through my little kind of marketing news feed, I'll see some Ad Age articles that just sound like total horseshit. And brands that are getting rid of mascots that have been working for them for decades. And, I think there's a lot of fun stuff out there that we can kind of rip apart. And there's a lot of actual ads that we could show and break down and point out what we like about them, what we don't like about them, how we feel consumers are going to actually encounter them, so yeah, there's a lot of things we could discuss.
All right, so I think we need to quickly write down the strategy for our show, right? So that
sounds great. Your audio is cutting out again. Or mine, who knows? We'll find out later when we watch this on YouTube.
That's about it.
There
right? Is that a solid positioning statement?
I didn't hear a word you said.
Okay.
Your audio cut out again. So
damn it.
Let's see. I can now. It's a show about branding, marketing, and advertising with two guys called Austin and Stef. They love to trash talk. That's it. Wait, hold on. You gotta add. We're the only show about branding, marketing, and advertising with two guys called Austin and Stef. That like to trash talk. So yeah, we got to have our onlyness statement. Got to get some.
That's it.
Yeah,
that makes all the difference in the world, right? I mean,
it really does. All you have to do is just say you're the only of something, and you are. There you go.
I feel a lot better now. I think we're gonna reach out to a certain tribe, and they're gonna really resonate with what we're saying
you're right.
here, and then
you're right.
It's just gonna be smooth sailing from there on. We're gonna have people tattooing and doing stuff like the BS show on there.
Yeah. Who's our customer persona? Should we narrow down our customer persona? I think his name is. Well, we can go back and forth. I'll give you his name, and then you give me another part of him, and then I'll give you another part of him. Okay. His name is Jackalus. That's a name I made up. Nichols. Jackalus Nichols. We're only interested in customers named Jackalus Nichols, okay, or viewers named Jackalus Nichols. So if you're watching and your name is not Jackalus Nichols, stop watching now. We don't want you to do this. Okay, go for it.
I'm thinking living in Venice, 65 years old. Sounds about
that does sound about right.
Like in the center of our segment.
Exactly. Let's see. What do they do for work? We don't want to reach marketers or brand strategists, because everyone with a brand strategy or marketing show is trying to reach marketers and brand strategists. So maybe they work as baristas. I think they're or baristos or whatever the terms are. Maybe they're all called baristas. I don't really know what the gender names are, but they love coffee. It's their life.
And I love that. It's like a very niche down audience. Like it's super clear who we're targeting. And I think they'll resonate also with like the mascot and stuff. Like it's just.
I think you're right. I think baristas love ducks. I think that's a good insight. Did you do some research before the show on that? Because that sounds about right.
I mean, I don't have to do a lot of research, but because I'm basically my own persona. Like everything I do in terms of branding and marketing, I just use myself. I think like, hey, how would I like this?
Yes,
and then
that's
usually
a good idea.
I love it a lot because it's mine.
Yeah.
And then
That's a really smart approach. I think that's the way to go.
Did you already bring something for this week, or was it more like we're gonna wing it and then do it next week for real?
I think we were gonna wing it and do it next week for real. But if there's something on your mind, I'd be down to do show a little teaser of what this is gonna look like. You got something there? Looks like
I got some. I mean, I just turned around and took a book from my library. No, it's a book I'm reading right now. It's called Marketing and the Bottom Line. I figured we need something serious in this first episode, like to at least cut through the sarcasm. It's a great book. It's by Tim Ambler, and it's basically like look at the subtitle, the marketing metrics to pump up the cash flow. I mean, that's what you want to hear, right? Pumping up.
That's what you want to hear. Pump up the cash flow.
Pump up the cash flow. Maybe
pump it up. Pump it up.
So no, it's a great book, and in essence, it talks about like how do we create metrics, a set of metrics that we can communicate to like executives or clients for that matter. I mean, it's a very interesting look at marketing at a very high level. It looks at like sales volume, penetration levels, market share, those types of like metrics. Because when we say metrics in marketing land, a lot of people go to like, oh, CTR, I don't know, social media metrics, which is they're relevant in a certain context. But this is really like what kind of big top level metrics should we be looking at in terms of marketing? And it does talk a whole lot about brand equity. Interesting. It mentions the Ehrenberg Bass Institute, but there is still like a little bit of in between room where I know, for example, Byron Sharp isn't a huge fan of the whole concept of brand equity, I think, because basically it's, if you look at market share, you have most of what is captured there, but it's highly recommended, I feel. It's hard to pick up, so if people want to read it, maybe I can just send it around the world, but that's
just one by one.
Great for the first show, a book review that nobody's gonna be able to pick up on. Nice.
You know what, if you're out there and you want this book, subscribe for $200 a month and you'll get this free copy that Stef's gonna send out to you. So I think that's a great business plan, Stef, for future.
We can do like a YouTube typical thing where it's like, hey, let's get this video to 10 likes, and if we get 10 likes, all of you get a book.
You get a book, and you get a book, and you get a book.
The ROI is safe on that, I believe.
I think you're right. I think we would definitely make some good money on that. Yeah.
So maybe let's wrap up this first episode with just like a quick intro for like, because I mean, you're non-existent, right, Austin?
I am. Yeah, I don't exist.
Social media, so you don't exist. I don't even know how you can get clients if you're not on social media.
I don't get clients.
So just explain a little bit about who you are, so people can at least trust you a bit more.
Well, Stef trusts me, so that's there you go. There's that.
Social proof.
There's yep. Or authority bias, whichever one, however you view Stef, I guess. So I am the founder of Woo Punch, which is a brand design consultancy. I basically do what Stef used to do before he started working in-house. And you can find me at, of course, woopunch.com, but I just launched my Substack where I transferred all of my previous articles from my website over there, and that's under the URL brandingbullshit.com. And so there you go. You can reach me through that.
So on a daily basis, what do you do for your clients?
Yeah, so a daily basis, what I'm usually doing is helping my clients to come up with some sort of kind of idea for a brand design, brand identity. Usually they're newer clients, so they're just kind of launching one, or they've kind of been around with some sort of generic identity for a long time, and so technically doing a rebrand, but in reality, for the most part, just kind of completely creating a new brand for them. And then I also design websites as well. And then once we've kind of established the brand identity moving forward, then I help with advertising consulting too, to make sure that all of their advertising is really well branded, and that they're incorporating any other sort of distinctive brand assets into their advertising that might also help reinforce and strengthen memories with the brand. So that's in a nutshell what I do. And then in the meantime, I write about all of the bullshit out there and I expose it.
Yeah, it's interesting to me how you're like a branding person, in the sense that you work in, like, you design stuff and you help clients with that. Yet like your thinking is a lot like anchored in I mean, the stuff we know about distinctiveness and meaningless differentiation, all that stuff. And it's interesting to be in that realm where you're working on the stuff that is very like tricky to work on if you don't have the typical traditional background where you create like a meaningful story and then you build a design on top of that. So I mean, we've both been there, and I think it's an interesting place to be there. Also, especially if you're like consulting also on advertising, but again from that branding angle. I like that. I think there's a lot of room for that, especially with like branding agencies being obsessed with, branding, rebranding. I think there's a lot of room for people that know branding from this angle. So I'm looking forward to your perspectives on things.
Yep, that sounds great. And they all know you, right? Everybody knows you. They started watching this.
There's about 1,200 subs on this channel, so that's
nice.
That's all the people you need, right? I mean,
that's exactly 1,000 true fans.
I mean,
exactly.
That's our tribe. We just need to create some merch and hype up, and then we're done for.
I love it.
So we'll be back, I think, in maybe 2 weeks ish, if we do not decide to kill the show after the first run.
I think this is gold. I think people are gonna eat this up. I think this show is gonna be. I think it's gonna be shown in business schools across the country as part of their classes that every student is required to take. I think they're gonna have to watch this video series. I think it's gonna be it's like
that's finally a show that brings together branding, marketing, advertising, strategy, design,
exactly,
in a non-cheesy way. I mean, why did nobody else see the gap in the market? Like we crash talk positioning, but we're masters at it, basically.
We really are. Anyway, side note, it's kind of funny because as we've gone down this rabbit hole, in a way we positioned ourselves without really trying to position ourselves. Instead of being like, here's our positioning, we just kind of fell into this like reality of how the world works. And because of that, and because no one else takes the time to look at that reality or think about that reality or look at the research regarding that reality, then we're one of the only ones doing it.
It kind of works. It's called emergent strategy. Like a lot of smart people do it, and we were doing it obviously as well because we understand complexity theory to the bone. Like it's just easy for us. But no, if you're interested in that emergent strategy, check out. I think it's called Henry Mintzberg. He has some great books. I try to read them. I'm not smart enough, but I get the gist of it. Is what you're saying is basically like letting the strategy come from talking about it and let it come from insights rather than let's just do something up front. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm excited about the first real episode coming up in a few weeks, where we'll actually be talking about real stuff. And in the meanwhile, I think we need to keep working on our lovely branding assets and introduce them to the world.
Exactly. I love it. I think it definitely needs some work, but we'll figure out the duck.
We're close. I mean,
we're very close.
Austin, this was fun, man. Talk soon.
All right. See you.
Bye. How do you close this thing?